Okay, hi, it's Sandy from s.ranellearts, and today we are looking at the Prima Marketing Watercolor palette called Tropicals. Here's the front of the palette. It's pretty much the same as all the other ones I've shown you. A couple things I didn't mention in the other reviews that I did is the fact that I was able to get these palettes off of Amazon for less than $20 a piece. I didn't pay for more than $20 for any of them. And when you open it up, you get 12 half pans. This little guy popped out. And they're full. You get a little mixing tray, a card to swatch out your colors. There's the ring on the bottom like the other ones so that you can put your finger through it and take it outside. And I have done a little bit of research, and it's very difficult to find a, there's cat hair there. It's very difficult to find a palette that's empty for under $20 or for $20. So to find one with colors that you can use that are transparent, most of them are fairly transparent, very nice. I believe this is a really good deal. So this is the Tropicals, and this time I will try to make sure it stays on camera and that my big head of hair doesn't get in the way. If you go and see my classics one, you'll see all those mistakes. So I'm going to spritz my palette with that a little bit. I'm using my number 8 Grumbacher. I find for the little illustrations that I've made, those work the best, or this one works the best. And I have decided to do, for the Tropicals, I decided to do all flowers. You'll notice there are quite a few greens in here, or at least 3 greens. I didn't want to do leaves. I just wanted to really concentrate on flowers. So we will be having some green flowers, but that is fine. So let me get my brush washed out. One of the things I love about watercolor is it's not like acrylic where it'll ruin your brush if you say set it down for a day and forget to wash it out, which is how I roll. All right, here we go. Now, I've mentioned this in some of my reviews for Prima. They don't always include the names of the colors on the little half pans when you open them up. Some do and some don't. I'm not sure how they decided. So I believe most of the ones I got did not. I didn't know what the names were. I'm not exactly sure how I was able to put these in the right order, but now that I think about it, since they are in the correct order, the numbers go with the names, I must have Googled it by this point. So this tropical one I got after I had started using Decadent Pies and the classics, which did not have names. So this one actually matches up, which is unusual for me. You know, sometimes I get it right. All right, here we go. Number 13 is called Grassland. And it is, I don't know if it's a phthalo green, really. It's very bright, not supernatural looking. However, I have used all the greens in here. I have mixed with blues and yellows and have been able to make some really beautiful colors. I don't want to get off track. It's so easy for me to do. I will put darker pigment in the center and let it just bleed out into the petals of this flower. I have to make sure my head doesn't get in the way because my head is always getting in the way. All right, let's try that. I used this tropical palette. I had a little art show that I went to, participated in Florida, and I wanted to make sure that most of my art appealed to Floridians or visitors. And I did a lot of things like rainbow colored parrots and mermaids and seahorses, and I almost exclusively used this tropical palette. I was able to get some really wonderful colors out of it, so I'm been very happy with it. All right, my next one is called Platinum. It's a little like a yellow ochre in my mind, but I'll try to keep it as light and transparent as I can. It is probably good for faces and maybe mixing with some greens. Let's see if I can do a quick little painting after I get this down. Not my favorite color, not gonna lie. I don't use it that much. But, all right, let's go to 15. Get that little, make sure I'm not getting the yellow in here. All right, 15 is called Thunderstorm. And good for skies, good for water, good for adding to the greens. I'd like to be able to say what kind of a blue this is close to, but I have to say it escapes me right now. But I have used it for, this, like I said, skies and water, and it's been nice. All right, we'll do a little of that, and maybe get the little stem there. So, okay, the next one is called Avocado, and you will see why. It looks just like avocado green. Reminds me of the appliances in the houses we had in the 70s. You know, that decade when you kind of wonder how it was that the whole world had no taste in fashion. I'm not exactly sure what was happening in the 70s. People at Vogue might disagree with me, but I do think we took a little vacation from taste back then. I was too young back then, so I shouldn't be blamed. But okay, that is avocado. But it reminds me of Azo green and Azo yellow, mostly Azo green, and some other colors I have in tubes. And I like that. It's good for foliage. It's a good green for foliage. It's much more natural than, say, number 13 Grassland. All right, let's do the number 17, which is Tropicana. And let me get this nice and light. I think this is a dogwood, but who knows? All right, we'll get that little guy going. I'm going to try to grab a paper towel. I'm forever collecting paper towels from around my house and using them up in my effort to be environmental. All right, so that is nice and light, but we will put some pure pigment there and maybe on this part and see what we end up with at the end. Just a touch more there. All right. Now, before I move on, I'm going to go back to Thunderstorm and try to get a little bit more area, a few more areas, a little bit more pigment in some of the, I really want, when it dries, I really want to show the differences in colors that you can get. So let me put a little bit more back in there. All right. Next one is Rainforest, and Rainforest is another, it's very deep green, little artificial looking. I do think I will do a little bit of mixing on just some paper after this, some watercolor paper, and just do a little bit of mixing of these colors and just see what's happening, because you can see that this is like, doesn't really seem like a green you would find in nature. So we want to take a look at how we can use that, because I have used it. I know I have. So let's just add our extra pigment right there and a little bit right here and there. Oh, we're missing a little top on there. I'll just put that in and fill that in later. Okay. Now, I mentioned Circus Green in the classics. That might be real Circus Green. All right, moving on. Get some clean water, and we're doing the red Parrot. And this one is just the prettiest little pink. So let's get that there. It's got a little bit of purple to it. Hopefully that's not from me not cleaning out the brush. That is kind of a problem I have. All right, so we get a little too much there. And put that in. Get a little pure right here and try to get this stem, show you just how dark this can go. I really did some lovely mermaid tails with some of these colors. Not this one, but yeah. Okay. Next one is North Isle. Let me move my palette over so you can see it. It's a very nice purple. It's very dark and deep. Very much more blue than red, I believe. It will dry that way. And I think I'm just gonna do a little sketch in here, a little bit there. Then I'll take a little bit and darker and work on these petals here. Try a little different approach. A little bit in the center, and just a tiny bit to allow to run out. Flowers are just the best thing when you're using, you know, you want to avoid blooms when you're painting with watercolor sometimes, and sometimes with flowers, they're just exactly what you want because they do such a nice job. So just add a little bit more there. Really, even before that dries, I can tell I like the way that's coming out. All right, got that clean. The next one is Sunset. This one I used a lot for the yellow here. It's nice, gosh, what is it? It's not really an Indian yellow, but it's closer than any of the others. And we'll get that in there. It's like a saffron or something, I don't know. It's nice if you're using just this palette to lay down this yellow for foliage too. And I think I will maybe take a lighter inside right here and just get that. I'm gonna lift out a little, nothing big, but just try to dilute it, and then come over and get a little bit more pure pigment. The problem with this Sunset one is I use it with most of the other greens and oranges, and so of course I almost never clean it. It's always got other colors in it. Not a good practice. Whoop, please tell me my hair's not getting in the way. I'm gonna shave my head. Not a good practice, but unfortunately, it's just how I am. I cut back on coffee, that's helped a little. But the reality is I always just want to keep getting onto what I want and not thinking about, say, cleaning the color before. All right, I'm going to clean my palette, make room for this. This is called Lush, and that is definitely it's like a purplish red or a reddish purple. And let's get that in there nice and thin. You can really do some transparent washes here. Okay, now darken the center, bleed in. It's a beautiful color. Love it. Love it. All right. Almost done. Not sure why that is yellow, so we'll just add a little water there, get that out. And that is going to be wild berry. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have some green areas because I got some yellow when I was not paying attention. All right. So wild berry is, it's like a Delft blue or Prussian blue. I don't even want to say because I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to try one more time to get as pure of a color as I can because I see a touch of green in that. So let's get this nice and light, and I've used this blue a lot too for skies and water and foliage. It's a nice blue to add. Okay, that is nice and light. I'll darken it up a little bit. My favorite part of watercolor is just watching the colors run sometime. All right, the last one is Cacao. Chocolate brown. I'm using it on little bleeding hearts, which are pink normally. They will now be brown. Let's get this nice and clean. I wouldn't want to muddy up my brown. And I'm going to use the tip of the brush. Try to get a nice light colors in. if I can. This is actually a very nice brown on its own. So let's get that on there. It's almost a reddish brown. And this one, as opposed to the one in the classics, which I don't use very much, this brown I have used, and I like this brown just by itself. So it can be nice and transparent. Alrighty, let's see. Are there any colors, while I let this dry, are there any places I'd like to go back and... No, here we go. I have the swatch card dry. A couple little brown spots on there, but that's okay. I can get rid of them. And you can see these are very bright, deep colors. Real pretty, and I'd like to use them again on a mermaid. I wish I had done that to show you, but maybe I'll do an actual painting of a mermaid and post that. All right. Well, thank you for watching. And see you next time.